Back in the early 80s when I was still living at home, my father had a subscription to Fortune magazine. And I read something in there once that said, some of the best minds at Procter & Gamble were given the task of duplicating the homemade cookie. The solution? 2 kinds of dough and I forget the rest. I think it was something about a special package. But obviously somebody thought if there was a solution, there must have been a problem. Well, what was the problem? Well, we need a cookie that is as close to being a homemade cookie as possible, but it isn't one. Why do we need that? Well, so that somebody can just eat the cookie without going to the work of tearing open a package, mixing some water, and putting it in a microwave of it. Just think of all the labor that will be saved. Well, why did somebody think of this? Well, because it's his job. Because he works for Procter & Gamble, and Procter & Gamble has to be constantly looking for new things that they can create. And so their stockholders will be happy. And if they don't do that, then they're out of a job. That's pretty hard to do since they already make just about everything people use in the home. But somebody somehow thought of an unexplored territory, an untapped market, a fake homemade cookie. Then what do? Somebody had to approve it, somebody had to give it a budget, somebody had to decide, how are we going to do this? How are we going to make a homemade cookie? Well, what is a homemade cookie? It's crunchy on the outside and it's chewy on the inside. How are we going to do that? Well, we had to have two kinds of dough. Well, how did they differ? I mean, was one dough kind of made pre-gooey so that it never got hard, and the other one was crisp? How do you combine that into 2 cookies? Do they have to design a special machine? 2 kinds of dough. I guess they made a gooey cookie and then 2 crispy outer cookies and put them all together in a sandwich or something. Or maybe they half-baked the crispy ones and even less than the half-baked, the gooey ones, and then they put them together and then they put them in the oven. Then how did they decide on the size and the shape? How many cookies to put in the bag? What kind of the package? What will it say on the package? How easy should it be to open? How is it going to appeal to people around the world? What kind of, what if they're Russian? They have their own alphabet. How much time and money was spent on this? And the more minute the details, the crazier it is. How could the material not flow? If you could just talk to these people who worked on this project. I mean, the minute details. Well, we had to decide which one they liked better. How did you do that? We had to hire people. We had to have them taste the cookie and ask them questions. They had to come in. Did they actually come in and do this and sit down and you had a clipboard or something? Who made the decision? How much money was spent? How did you decide how to spend it? It's just inconceivable to me that anybody could even think this way.